Danny, I'll let you get first crack at this. Again, Alabama, Ohio State, LSU, Miami started on Tuesday. Florida and Notre Dame start on Thursday. Take it anywhere you want. What are some of the storylines, or what are you keeping tabs on?
The newcomers, new faces, new places. You mentioned DeBoer off the top. Chip Kelly, some very interesting comments he had about being happy and how he's free, like he just felt like a new man. And he's out there. I see him joking in practice, yucking it up with Caleb Downs, a couple new guys there. I also thought Devin Brown's comments were pretty interesting. Him calling out saying, hey, everybody thought I was going to transfer. I'm not going anywhere. Will Howard, again, how is he going to fit in that system? Yeah, just like all the newness, and trying to keep track of it is almost impossible. Like we know about the top tier, but we talked to Jeff Lebby today on the morning show, and like it's like, all right, oh yeah, Blake Shapen's there. Oh my God, like I totally forgot that Blake Shapen was his quarterback. And you're like, it'll take a while to get used to some of these names, and just when you think you might have a handle on it, you'll have the post-spring transfer portal period. Maybe you'll have to learn them again. But yeah, I think Ohio State, like the Ohio State and Bama clearly are the two biggest spots for kind of the different reasons. Curious to see how the quarterback battle plays out, because Austin Mack, the kid coming in from Washington, by all accounts, is just an absolute beast. And when he comes in there, it's like, oh my gosh, this guy looks legit. And then you see Jalen Milroe with his shirt off, and like he's been working. He's been putting some time in the plate, in the weight room. Where so much so that I'm like, dang, dude, slow down a little bit. Tom Brady was saying elasticity. He wasn't saying bulk up,
Yeah. Let me interject real quick with it. Did y'all see the Chip Kelly quote about quitting coaching? All right, So Chip Kelly told reporters, I don't know if I've got a good Chip Kelly right now. Yeah, I never thought about quitting, not coach. I don't know. Okay. Quote, I never thought about quitting or not coaching. I'm going to coach and then I'm going to die. Chip Kelly.
That's a great one. He was referencing the Beatles, right? As far as, how happy he was. I mean, He's in a good place, great place, because he's going to crush it this year. Like he's going to crush it. He's going to be able to contend for a national championship as opposed to being on the hot seat the whole year. And the next year he pops right back to the top of the list.
Bud, you mentioned the Alabama quarterback battle. What's your sense of that Austin Mack, Jalen Milroe, sort of all the pieces going on there in Tuscaloosa?
I think it'll be Milroe, but I don't know that it'll be Milroe. I'm 100% confident that Milroe is going to start at least at some position for Alabama, because the way he looks in the weight room is ridiculous. Like that, if that guy like somehow loses the quarterback battle, he's probably just going to be their starting tight end or like edge rusher, which is another position I'm watching for Alabama, because they lose both Braswell and Turner to the draft. Like, is Keon Keeley for real? Is Keanu Coate going to step up there? I think the entire secondary is a major question. They added Damani Jackson, formerly of USC, there, but their secondary got rocked. Offensive line is another one to watch there, and also receiver. Are we going to start 17-year-old Ryan Williams? Is Jeremy Bernard, who was like receiver 4 for Washington, is he going to be featured prominently in this offense? I kind of wonder how aggressively Alabama is going to be portal shopping here in the spring window, because when I pull my depth chart out and I start to assemble it, this is a team that certainly has a lot of raw talent, but man, it is there's not a lot of experience raw talent on this thing right now that you feel good about. So I don't know. Saban said in that article today that he felt really, really good about this team, and then guys were asking about like, hey, what's my path to playing time and what's my NIL? Which I'm like, Nick Saban's not getting the Nick Saban discount anymore. That's awesome. But it's going to be interesting to watch Alabama spring practice. There's a lot of moving pieces here.
Tom, what you got your eyes on?
Honestly, do you want the honest answer of what I have my eyes on for spring practice, or do you want?
Excuse me. Let me rephrase the question. What are you interested in among these teams that are getting going this week? Like, what are you going to?
I'm interested in
grinding. What are you interested in finding out information about?
I'm interested in everybody getting through healthy. That is the only thing I am ever interested in when it comes to spring practice.
Coach speak.
I don't want to see a team get, I don't want to see a key player get hurt in spring practice and then like miss the start of the year, or maybe miss the entire year. So for me, especially when we've still got another transfer portal window coming, when I approach the spring, don't get hurt. Let's see, we talk about quarterback battles. Nobody ever names their starter in the spring anymore, unless that guy was already the established starter. So there's not that really storyline to look to. For me, stay healthy and see what movement there is afterwards in the portal, because then you kind of do know who's going to be the starter when somebody's hitting the portal. You kind of get a much better idea. And kind of like what Bud's saying, Alabama, the roster that's showing up in spring right now is probably going to be entirely different than the Alabama roster we see on the field in September. So for me, spring practice, cool. All right, don't get hurt.
Quinn Ewers was named starter directly after the conclusion of spring practice. I don't think it is totally foreign, even in today's transfer portal era. There are other, I would say that there are other spots where you're looking to just sort of get a sense for how somebody is fitting in with their team. I mean, Miami standout defensive end Ruben Bain, talking to reporters yesterday. What did he say? He's got a little strut. He's talking about Cam Ward. So he's got a little strut to him, got a little swag to him. He's stepping in. He is providing that kind of electric presence that you would hope you would get, something that Miami saw for 1 year when they got Derek King in there and they were able to, really start to take some steps forward. Can Cam Ward be able to go in there and take control of that locker room and be a leader for that team when he's really just been, 2 years at Incarnate Word, 2 years at Washington State? Can you impress that upon your teammates? So that's, we've got Riley Leonard, who's going to be doing the same thing coming up here at Notre Dame. What do we think ends up happening in terms of his connection with that wide receiver room, where even on Monday's show, I think we were just kind of throwing our hands up. I don't know who the good pass catchers are going to be out of there. There are lots of good options, but not necessarily like a one go-to. So I think that you can, in the limited amount of availability that we get with college football paranoia, I think you can start to get a sense for, how the pieces are coming together for a certain team in spring practice.
But going back to your Texas example with Quinn Ewers, that's a very different situation because you had the hype machine of the guy we were talking about at the beginning of the show. So Steve Sarkisian just wanted to quiet all that Arch Manning down and just say it's Quinn Ewers, because it was always going to be Quinn Ewers.
Sure. So does he do it again? Does he do it again after this spring? Does he have to?
No, I think he might. I don't know if he'll probably get asked the question, so I don't know. But I think it's kind of established that Quinn Ewers is the starter. I mean, he led them to the Big 12 title in a college football playoff. Like, are you going to be trying to bench him this spring? No.
Yeah. I don't know why you wouldn't. Arch is not a real transfer threat. So I'm interested in this kind of LSU Notre Dame swap, right? So LSU's losing a mobile quarterback. They're returning an awesome offensive line. Notre Dame is gaining a mobile quarterback, but they're losing two really good offensive tackles. And the run games at both spots are going to change quite a bit style-wise. Like Nussmeier can't do some of the same run game stuff that Jaden Daniels did. How will Mike Denbrock use the new quarterback from Duke, Riley Leonard, who's an elite athlete, probably a better runner than he's a passer? And he's not a bad passer, but he's a really special runner and especially a scrambler. How will he use him with Notre Dame's offensive line, which I would expect to take a step back, but maybe not a huge one. We'll see how it looks. So like stylistically, they're almost trading, what they're doing run game wise with the changing quarterback and the change in offensive line and coordinator here as well.
Lots of stuff. Again, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's pretty funny to me that Chip mentions Notre Dame's receivers and Michael shows up in the chat out of nowhere. It's like the bat signal.
Hey, and look,
they were all injured according to Michael. All of them.
Anytime I'm looking at a collection and I just don't know what to grab, there are only but so many. I don't know if you guys knew this. I know that you guys have been around football your whole lives, but when you throw a pass, did you know only one person can catch it? A lot of people don't talk about that. So it is important to establish a few options. You can't have all your whole room on the field at the same time, no matter what A11 or whatever those new wild offenses tell you. So, yeah, it's something to keep track of here in spring practice.
I have read the rule book, Chip, and I don't see any rule in there about how you can't cut the ball in two and throw it to two different receivers.
We also have simultaneous possession.
Yeah. See, a lot of loopholes yet to be exploited by innovative coaches. That's all I'm saying.
You know what else?
Go ahead, Dan.
I think we'll see this maybe more in the spring games when they start taking place. But the new rules, I'm curious to see what it looks like, what teams start to do with the communication, the quarterbacks, what impact that has. I don't know if they'll be able to. We won't notice it. I think being able to see the iPads in between series is huge for the regular season. I don't know if they'll practice that as much, but I'm curious to see who does it, who doesn't, because you're still going to see. As much as we're saying goodbye to the Teletubbies on the sideline, there's still going to be some schools that use them because they go no huddle. They have to be able to signal, plays and routes and, all kind of things. So, but I'm curious to see what that can do with teams that want to go pace, go even faster, kind of just intricacies of that. I think is going to be interesting.
They're going to use them on defense too.
Yeah.
To signal it, like you'll probably get your coverage call into your designated player, but for the teams that have to defend tempo teams, you're likely going to call your front call with the board still.
Right.
Most likely. They also have a shortage of these right now. I watched DeBoer's press conference, and he was talking about how they're excited to learn how they can use them, but they wish they had more of them, like the helmet, the comms, because there's a shortage right now. He's like, so we got as many as we could get, but obviously with the shortage, it makes it tough. So I haven't really seen that reported on much, but apparently so. If Alabama's having trouble getting some, I imagine some other schools probably are as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's the first one to try to hack in the signal, the radio waves or whatever they're using, try to listen in?
He also talked about how
schools.
Yeah, I can think of a couple.
Yeah, Purdue. He talked about like how it actually was difficult to use potentially in the stadium with all the noise. I'm assuming
that was the first thing. It's hard to hear. It comes in convoluted, and you see it all the time. NFL guys going like this, like I'm trying to hear, you're cupping it over your ears. But college stadiums are louder, especially in the SEC. It's going to be interesting to see, in there. I would hope that since I played, the communication has come a long way. I told you guys we'd get some interference every time, a little bit. We'd have like a Mexican polka station. You could hear it like off in the background. I would hope that 20 years later, we have fine-tuned the frequencies that they're using, but there's always the threat. The NFL has a rule in place where if one team's communication goes down, they both have to go down. Like you can't use them. So there clearly are issues still that crop up from time to time. And so what impact could that have potentially? And see if anybody just turns it down altogether. I'll be curious. I don't think anybody will be that crazy. I think you have to take advantage of it, but some teams might just ignore it and have it ready to go, for a 2-minute or something.
A couple more things here for the spring. I saw on Bucknuts that Ohio State looks to be using more tempo this year. So
checks out with Chip Kelly.
Put that in the notes. Which also checks out because I'm not really sure their offensive line is that great. So you can use some tempo to help yourself there at times. Miami, I thought David Lake and Gabby over at our Miami 24/7 sports site did a great job. There's like a lot of guys missing spring, or at least who weren't out there at the start. Nigel Kelly, Messidor, Fletcher, the stud running back who got hurt in the bowl game. Apparently that's not an Achilles, but he's still not back. So that's a big piece for them. Because Trevante Citizen, a kid I know they liked, he got pretty badly hurt like last year or 2 years ago. And he's not close to they don't know if he's ever going to be at that level again. And who else was out? Oh, the Maui Noah brothers.
Both of them?
Yeah. I was listening to their podcast yesterday morning. So I don't know. Like anytime you see guys miss spring, you have to just jot it down if you do our jobs. Like, okay, is he going to be back for fall? Like, is this something to monitor? How long is he out? Is he going to miss part of summer? We just don't know.
And if I am a coach, to Tom's point, I get them as ready as possible, and we use all this spring to be able to continue to develop the depth. You know what I don't need to know? Whether the Maui Goa brothers are capable of playing on Saturdays.
Yeah.
Check. We're good there. Don't need to learn anything about that. And let's, we can spend those spring practices getting them healthy and then being able to get their backups, even more ready. Comment from Jay. Peter Woods working out at DN. That's right. The defensive tackle for Clemson is down 15 pounds, and his goal is to shed about another 5 or so and get down to I think he said 290, 285, 290, 295. He was well above 300 coming in, and maybe start moving over to that defensive end position. Woods is a gifted football player.
Yes.
Be interesting to see how that goes. Clemson was one of the first ones to get going. They got going last week, I believe, on Thursday or Friday. So they're up and rolling as well.
Did they finish
But
with a pizza party?
I don't know if they can ever go back. I think Dabo promised that pizza party like Jackie Moon promised corn dogs if someone hit a half court shot. I mean, like all of a sudden they made the college football playoff at 15-0, and everybody said, "Pizza party, Dabo, for everybody." He's like, "Oh no."